Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 video. We are continuing through our Running the Gauntlet series today, which brings us to the second Gauntlet run in Phase 2 of the Rise of the Phoenix DLC expansion, which is going to be the Level 70 Divine Power Gauntlet run. This one was a little bit tricky, but once you learn the quirks for it, you're going to be pretty successful in getting through it. So let's have a look at the 4 different phases, what you need to be aware of going into them, and then what you need to do in order to get the full clear rewards for this phase of that gauntlet. So the first section of this gauntlet is going to involve a fight against Loki, and you do need to fend off 50 enemies in total, including Loki in that number. Now that means that you can get more than 50 characters in the course of that fight. You'll just need to keep an eye on it as you go around. Now, one thing that you do need to be aware of in this one is the danger room hazard that pops up is an orb that spawns in some lightning that runs out in vertical bolts. So you do want to be cautious about that as you are going and interacting with it. Apart from that, there aren't a whole lot of quirks that are super interesting to keep in mind. There are enemies that do pop in with the Phoenix Force, which you can then siphon off your characters, and you'll want to be mindful as you do that, but also make sure that you are activating those as frequently as you can. There is a little bit of that drawback with the damage that is inflicted, but it is traded off with an overall damage increase to you as well. And we'll talk about why you want to keep an eye on those and prioritize those a little bit later. The only other thing that you do need to be cautious of is as the fight progresses, there will be increased damage for all players, both on your side of the field as well as the opponent's side. That damage will increase every minute over the 5-minute timer that you have to clear this out. But at the end of the day, you really just need to make sure that you are focusing on the 50 character total cap as well as taking out Loki. Now, I was trying to pick up this Phoenix Tome with Gambit, but that was not working. So I went ahead and activated his extreme attack to make sure that we could save him and not have to waste a revive on him. And we were able to do so, as well as clear out Loki in the course of that. So that allows us to move on to the second phase, which is going to be a timed trial, which is on an 8-minute timer. You do have increased ability damage, which means that your abilities and synergies will be more efficient in this leg of that gauntlet. Every other type of damage is reduced, and you recover your energy points more quickly by attacking into your enemies and opponents. Now, you also have access to these Phoenix Force tomes periodically throughout this quest, and you will want to pick those up, though you keep in mind that for whatever reason in this section of the gauntlet, you are being dealt more damage as you are running around. I don't know why. So make sure that the main character that you tend to gravitate towards using is not a character that you are going to have issues with. Now, the most frustrating part of this little laser quest section is the 3 different danger room hazards, which are all the gravity orbs, and they will suck you back through the laser grid, which is not something that can normally be done, but because of the quirk of how these are meant to work, they can indeed affect you in that way. So we're going to grab a couple more of these Phoenix Tomes and continue to work on taking these opponents down and moving along into the last mandatory combat section before the throne room opens up and takes us to the Red Skull fight. There are a lot of these large gravity orb danger room hazards, so keep that in mind as you are running through. And if you have abilities that are reliant on you being stationary, well, you're going to have a real rough time with this. So just make sure that you are aware of that going into this section of the fight. Here's the last and mandatory set of combat before the final boss fight, and you will notice that there is still a danger room hazard over there that you will need to be cautious of as we go into this combat section. And while we fight through these characters, you're already pretty familiar with what's going to happen here, so I will go ahead and outline the different clear conditions that you need to be aware of for this one. First off, you need to clear through the 4 phases of this gauntlet once in order to gain the first set of clear conditions. The second is going to be defeating 150 enemies. This one you can do within 1 run of the gauntlet as well. And upon defeating 150 enemies, you do unlock an alternate costume for Gambit. It's a little hard to see in the footage that we're looking at right now, but if you do glance around at Gambit when I'm controlling him, or when he's not, in active combat, I am currently wearing that skin or that cosmetic on Gambit, and it's actually a really nice dark leather tunic that he puts on that I think is super cool. The third clear condition that you need to keep in mind you will not be able to do in a single run. You need to acquire the Phoenix Force 30 times or more in the course of your run. You can probably do that in 2 runs, though it's more likely that you're going to accomplish it in 3. You can get each of your team members imbued with that Phoenix Force power in each section of this gauntlet, or in each of the 4 chapters, which means you can get a maximum of 16 applications in 1 cycle. So if you play your cards right, you can get them all within 2 cycles, but you will need to run this gauntlet 3 times because of the final clear condition, which is getting a win streak of 12. Since there are 4 sections to this gauntlet, you will need to clear it out 3 times in order to get to that milestone. Now, the danger room hazard here in the Red Skull fight, it's not as obtrusive. I was expecting it to be another one of those gravity orbs, but it's actually the opposite. It's that large sphere that ricochets off the battle arena. But with a couple of final synergy attacks here, we can not only take that obstacle down, but we can also take out Red Skull and progress into the 3rd phase of this gauntlet run, which is going to be a fight against the Destroyer armor and a bunch of other grunts. You will need to defeat every single enemy that appears here in order to move on. The Destroyer doesn't show up until you've taken out the first wave of those enemies, and there are enemies that have the Rainbow ISO 8 crystals that you can pick up to amplify your power and attack output, on top of that which is already being done by the Phoenix Force as you pick that up as well. We've got more of these gravity orbs. Instead of the large 1-tick orbs that run around, we do have a tri-spit orb that shoots off in 120-degree vectors out towards the edges of the arena. So you will want to keep that in mind, especially, again, if you rely on your synergy attacks, keeping you stationary over the course of that attack. And with the Destroyer armor here, we are just looking to finish him off with a couple of our synergy and ability attacks here. There's no other real quirks to this fight. You just need to make sure that as you attack into the Destroyer, you have those crystals at the ready, as otherwise you are going to be dealing meaningless damage to him. The only way to really make sure that you're taking him down efficiently is to attack into him while you have the crystal power powering you up. And just like that, the Destroyer armor is taken care of, so now we just need to clean up the last couple of grunts that are running around here at the edge. And with those attacks, we will be able to finish this out. We'll also want to take out that final danger room hazard just to make sure we're not getting sucked out to the edge of the arena as well. And this brings us to the 4th and final stretch of this gauntlet run, which is going to be a one-on-one fight against Thor. And by one-on-one, I mean your team of 4 against him with his Phoenix Force ability. Similar to the previous section, the danger room hazard here is going to be another set of the 120-degree vector gravity spheres, which is annoying as it sucks you away from the opponents that you are trying to attack and take down. And as soon as you have that obstacle removed, it will make your life quite a bit easier. Now, Thor, he can be a little bit of a nuisance as he runs around, especially because a lot of his attacks can stagger you out. But my easy answer to this is hold on to your extreme attacks and make sure that you levy them out against him, especially if you are having issues with upkeeping your health here and you followed some of my previous advice in selecting the vitality sections of your mastery tree to regain a portion of your health based off of extreme damage dealt. There will be more of those danger room hazards that pop up throughout this fight, so you will want to take those out as they appear or get sucked around the arena. But apart from that, it is a pretty straightforward fight once you learn to work your way around them, or can rely on team members that don't have to be stationary with their abilities and synergies to take down those hazards as they appear. And with Thor removed from play here, that is all we had for you in today's video. So if you enjoyed today's video, please feel free to leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily content, as I have videos coming your way every single day. Thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.